here. Good morning. Good morning. Officially, good afternoon in Florida for you Florida people. Um, as always, you're going to see me reaching up and doing things like that. That's muting you, unmuting you. And then I might come back and ask you a question or two throughout the presentation, but we are featuring again the Prestige Plus. Ooh, let me hear your oohs and ahs. Ooh. Yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with this. I actually got some music I might use today. But what's really phenomenal about this instrument is, first of all, it's in the classification of the A technology, which basically, to me, is what influenced all of the models that we hear today. To me, this was like the footprint that set the pace for all of the models we have, and where they had more innovations and more phenomenal things. You're going to hear two words today, classy or Prestige Plus. And it looks like we have an iPhone and Kelly. Is that iPhone and Kelly? Is it Ann or iPhone Ann? Let me ask her to start her video. Well, this is fine because I got my sound check out of the way. Hi, iPhone and Kelly, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, can you hear us? Can we see you? Or are you in your pajamas? Oh, it's afternoon there, so.
I don't care if you look.
Okay. Can you put your video? Because I might speak to you once in a while.
All right, 1 minute.
Let's see, you have an iPhone, so I think, oh, there it is. Hi. Oh, I remember you. I kept calling you iPhone and Kelly. Is that okay if I call
That's
you
right.
iPhone and Kelly?
Do I have a choice?
Okay. Well, yes, you
That's
do. And it's
that's
Ann,
fine.
correct?
That's iPhone and it's okay. Carry on.
All right. All right. Well, you came just in time. I just did one song just to play it, to check out the sound, to make sure everything was sounding good. We're featuring, obviously, the Prestige Plus. You might hear some terminology today from me. I might say the words classy, and I may say the words Prestige Plus. And here's the significance of that. You have the Royale, correct, Ann?
That's correct.
Okay. And Diane, I know, has the Stardust. Those models are considered the what we call the SU technology, and they look very similar in panel design. There's some subtle changes that I'll explain, but one of the things that when you select a rhythm style on the panel and you push the two variation buttons together, you get what's called basically more variations. And as a result of that, you get you have your variation 1, your 2, then you have on the screen it would say mellow, that's variation 3. It would say exciting, that would be variation 4. You would see danceable, that's variation 5. And then on the Stardust, popular, that's variation 6. On the Prestige and then the Prestige Plus, they have one that's called classy and Prestige Plus. And Prestige Plus, when I refer to that, these are the styles that actually came from the models that were larger than the Prestige. But I'm going to start off first with classy, because when the Prestige was introduced, even if this instrument didn't have a whole change in some of the additions, it was still a phenomenal instrument as it is. And here's why. The signature styles that are represented in this model are just absolutely amazing. And if you play the songs that they're intended for, you'll find that the arrangements are perfect. Now, having said that, if I play this style here, what I'm going to play, the style's called Unforgotten. The song I'm going to play is obviously Unforgettable. And as I'm playing the songs, listen closely. The fill is all perfect. The arrangement's perfect. Now, the question I get a lot is, what if I want to play another song? Do I have to find another rhythm style? No. These styles work two ways. They work one way for the song they're intended, and two, they work so that you can play any other song with it by just changing the intro twos or the alter styles. So listen as I play Unforgotten, and then what you're going to notice here, is, and I'll touch on this again, this harmony section now has an upper and lower harmony for the upper and the lower right keyboard. So when I play on the bottom keyboard, listen to how the harmony, the saxophone blend comes in. That's enough talk. Let me play. I'm so excited about that. Let me mute it so you can hear it perfectly. Here we go. Oh, I just love that style. So if you notice, as I was playing on the top and the bottom, I had on the top just a beautiful AOC harmony like you normally would hear, and then on the bottom keyboard I had some saxophones and some strings, and it had another harmony. We now have 15 harmony choices for the top and 15 for the lower right now, which gives us the opportunity to get the same fullness on both keyboards. Now, I can do it manually, or I use the presets and they do it automatically for you. Now, I mentioned a little bit about the cosmetic design on the instrument. There are some subtle changes, but a lot of similarities. When the Lowry Prestige was introduced, it was twofold for, I think, for Lowry. What they wanted to accomplish was, we need to keep a panel that remains familiar to the students, so that if someone said, I'm used to using Frank in the count, I want to make sure that I can find it just as easily as I do on mine. Or I'm used to using my soft and easy variation 1, etc., etc. So you'll notice at a glance, you can see that the panel lighting, the buttons are labeled very similar, but there are some subtle changes. The first thing you'll notice is that the presets are no longer up here, they're actually close to the keyboards. And I thought that was very clever. And since that time, every model thereafter has had that design. We always encourage our students to use presets, and sometimes you don't want to have to reach up too much. So having them close by. So occasionally, if you see me playing and you hear a different sound, you may see me kind of doing this, sneaking in a preset, because it's right there at the touch of my fingertips. Well, between the movement of the presets, a slight different change in design on the cosmetics, and up in the top here, there's like just a nice little cut in here. Same gorgeous cabinet styling. We actually have the steam bent process here, but they had some changes in the cut. It actually gave Lowry the ability to make the distance between here and here for the student 2 inches lower. So I'm just guesstimating this is about 2 inches. So most music on the SU models is actually here on the lower rack. And for a lot of students that are either shorter or they have trouble with their neck, they're finding that 2 inches makes a world of a difference. There's a couple small things that they've changed on the panel, the lighting, what have you. And I'm going to ask my trusty, I have Justin Rasmussen. Are you in there? do me a favor. Go in the back and turn the lights off in the store. I'm going to have Justin run to the back, turn the lights off momentarily, because I don't know what the lighting is in everybody's home, but the panel lighting on here is such that you have the ability. Obviously, we have some of the models have this, which is nice. The ABC lights actually has 3 modes. Now that's pretty bright from where you see it. I like it kind of in between when I'm playing. And then, of course, the panel lighting actually has the ability to adjust the lighting depending on what works for your eyes. So he's going to turn the lights back on, but you have the ability to control the lighting however you want. To me, those are the subtle little things that making when you're playing your instrument, because if you can see the sounds easier, the better. And then I'm going to come back to this little fun little gadget here in just a little bit. But back to some of our classy variation styles. You're going to find that some of the best styles are found on the classy style. Now, this is what's called the Latin Big Band, and this features the Latin music of Xavier Cugat. And what made him stand out among the others back in the day was he didn't just have great Latin music, but he really kind of utilized a big band orchestra. Kind of like when I hear this, I think of Xavier Cugat, Desi Arnaz, that type of Latin big band type orchestra. When you hear this, it's absolutely gorgeous. And then what you're going to see occasionally is, as I come up to here, we have this in the feature here called the Virtuoso. Now the Virtuoso is phenomenal because it works 2 ways. It gives you these beautiful arpeggios that you can do anytime, and guess what? You never hit a bad note when you're using it. So you can run your finger across however you want, and it gives you these beautiful arpeggios. Now, it's not designed to do that all the time. It's an as needed. So as I'm playing, you'll see me do some subtle arpeggios without having to use the golden harp continuously. Then I'm going to get to a part of the song where I'm going to use it as a fake it feature. Now, some of you are familiar with the fake it button on some of the models. I can actually use this Virtuoso as a fake it button. So instead of running my finger across as I'm playing, I'll just play a chord or two and then randomly tap out notes just like I would a fake it button on the other instruments. This is the gorgeous Latin style featuring the Xavier Cugat, Desi Arnaz flavor style of Latin big band. Here we go. That was the all-new Latin Big Band on our Prestige Plus here. Now, I just love that style. If you really just was listening to it, you can tell that is just such a classy style, which was perfect for these variations. Now, by the way, when you're running your finger, you don't have to, if you notice when I ran my finger up, I kind of did this little thing with my hand. You don't have to do that, by the way. That's just to kind of, if you have somebody watching you, maybe you're doing your own little Zoom concert, if you just go like that, people will be very impressed or think you're really doing something fancy. But did you notice as I was doing it, I did a little bit of both. I was doing it as arpeggio, and all I did is I played the chord of the song. So normally you would have just a song there, play the chord, and then occasionally tap out the notes, and you get a whole different variation of playing that, and you can do basically a whole solo with that. Now, when we get into the A series technology, there's something else that's absolutely extraordinary. And it's something that I hope you use frequently. And it's called presets. So as you know, if you have a Stardust or a Royale or an Odyssey, or if you've had it, you've probably had something a little bit smaller along the way. And you'll notice along the way, progressively, your instrument has had more presets. I know Diane, for example, I know she's had before the Stardust, you had a fanfare. And then before that, you had an Easy 10, right, Diane? She just would not stop bothering us. She kept saying, I have to upgrade, Robert. I have to upgrade. Now, I have her muted, so she can't defend herself right now. But one of the things you notice on those models, like the Easy 4 was one of the models, it had a button called Style Setup. And it set up one sound for you with a rhythm. And then when you got to the Easy 10, you had 5 buttons, and the fanfare at 8. And then when you guys get into the Royales and Stardust, you have 10. So the more presets you have, to me it's like more recipes at your fingertips. Actually, the best analogy I've been given lately, and people think I'm nuts, is it's kind of like opening up a cookbook and having a recipe, and then you press on that page, and then all of a sudden your meal's automatically cooked for you. Wouldn't that be great? You could just press on the ingredient you like in the book, and all of a sudden, or in your case, Don, wouldn't it be nice if you could open up a cookbook and press a meal you like, and then Randy just magically cooks it for you, and it's done in 5 minutes? Oh, I see a reaction there. Well, that's kind of what this is like. It's like having all these wonderful recipes at your fingertips, and then just by pressing a button, you get this wonderful setup. But Lowry wanted to do something very clever, and they accomplished it. Now, I don't know if you could see it in the screen there, but it should look very similar to what you have. You have A, B, C, D, E. You have 1 through 10, theater, country. So those buttons are really, there's nothing different. Well, here's the change. First of all, when you touch the More button, there's more categories in the instrument. We'll come back to that in a minute. But if I turn on the instrument, and I'm going to go through these rather quickly because these sounds are phenomenal. I just love these sounds. But I want to show as many as I can. If I turn on the instrument and I just put it to the factory setting, in fact, I'll even go back because I've been putting some presets in here. So I'm going to put Reset Presets straight to the factory. And I select one of these buttons, Theater, Country, Big Band, and I don't press a number. I get a new sound that the Prestige Plus has without even having to do anything but press one. So for example, traditionally on the A, B, C, D, and E's, you have some either strings or some organ settings. For example, when I push C or D, for example, it says tremolo strings, and this is strings that you normally would have to go like this to play and get that effect. Here it does it automatically. Or some people love the sound of the church organ sounds. Well, this is no ordinary church organ sound. In my screen it says Big Z Power, and I'll tell you a little bit about the screen in a minute. Big Z Power, which is basically means E-powered Biggs, who in the church classical organ world was known to have a very unique pipe organ sound that no one else had, and it sounds like this. For those of you who love some of the vocal sounds, rather than having a vocal sound like this, they now have actual what they call jazzers. So I just touch E0 and I get this. And if you notice, when I hold the note, watch what happens when I just apply just a tad bit, a little bit extra pressure to it and hold it. And it does it automatically for you as you're playing. I call that the Rick Anderson button. I see Rick Anderson there every now and then. He'll do a little boogie woogie bugle boy or something like that, and he always starts off with that. And of course, if I touch theater, we now have what's called new mighty tibias. This one here is really nice. Country Zero, a new sound called the dobro. And what I like about this, we have a lot of students have always had difficult trying to play the glide. So I'm trying to move that kick switch. And a lot of times when they do it, they do this and they move their body and they trying to get it. Well, here it does it automatically with just pressing the note a little harder. Now you'll notice, and so you know I'm not cheating. Here's my feet. They're up here. You just play the note. So I'm not doing that with the glide switch. So it does it automatically when you press it. Listen. Just a lot of phenomenal sounds in our zero position there. Ray Anthony's brass set. New flamingo guitars. And this is pretty phenomenal because what happens is if you listen to a guitar player play, when they're playing, they're not always playing and getting the exact same sound all the time. They have little imperfections in the notes and what they call harmonics. This does it automatically. And if you go into the same categories that most of you have, we now have Louis Armstrong with his traditional soft, sort of a unique horn sound. Or the style that he played where he really shook the trumpet. You got to kind of wiggle your finger a little bit. And if you don't, oh, it does it automatically. That makes it easy. all these fabulous sounds, and this list just goes on and on and on to plunger trumpets. There's actually a sound called plunger trumpet. Now, in case you're wondering, how do I know all these sounds? Because there are thousands of sounds and presets in here. Now, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. You might be able to see it somewhat. But in the screen here, it says category preset, because I have a category preset. And in the window, it's telling me, right now it says 5 plungers and 1 low. When I switch a preset to another category, like it says dobro, harmonica. If I go to big band, it says Ray A brass with a block harmony. The screen is always telling me what preset sound is there. To take it a step further, when I'm using a rhythm, so for example, as I come over and I'll select one of our new rhythm styles again, when people use the preset information option on here, the Royales and the Stardust, they have a custom 4 button. But they took it a step further on the A technology. When you pull up the custom 4, it'll actually tell me now every single sound that's on the top and the bottom. So when I touch number one, for example, says clarinet / sax flugel. So that means I have a clarinet and a sax and a flugelhorn combination. 5 says, that one's interesting. It says guitar plus vibes and whistle. And et cetera, et cetera. So every time I say a sound, mind you, it's not because I know what's there, it's because I'm reading what the screen says before I get to it. Now I got to play another one of my new classy styles that are on the Prestige. This is absolutely phenomenal because there are so many different styles on this instrument that people have fallen in love with. This one is nice because for many years there's always been great Christmas style on the SU series. And one in particular that you both have is a style that sounds like this. It's called Sleigh Bells. And that's nice for Christmas music, holiday music, what have you. But when that style was introduced, it was in 1994 on an instrument called the Citation. And as a result of that style, I believe it helped us sell that instrument quite easily. Now we fast forward to today, and this style has been added. It's called Jingle Jangles, which is a totally different flavor of Jingle Jangles, and it's a little slower and easier to follow, and it's just a really nice classy style here. Here we go. I gotta do that again. That was fun. Feels like there's snow drizzling on me. Kind of helps me cool me off here in this Arizona heat. Just a really, really fun style to have, especially that time of the year. Now, I mentioned in the screen here, it says Classy, and there's a new one that says Prestige Plus. Prestige Plus is a little bit different, and the reason is we've had the honor of working side by side with a person by the name of Bill Curry. And I think I've mentioned this in some of my past demonstrations, but Bill Curry is the mastermind behind the programming and the styles and the presets that you're all listening to, as well as the presets and the sounds and the styles that are on the SU series models, and since the early 90s. Well, we approached Bill on this project, and we asked him to take some of the best styles and features off the higher end models and put them into the Prestige. And that's exactly what he did. And we simply labeled them Prestige Plus. What's so special about these styles? Well, you're going to hear me say this style was from the Lowry Liberty, etc. What was significant about that instrument? It was nearly $80,000 in its day. And it had such amazing styles and sounds. So for example, I'm going to simply, and it's very easy to find. If I go to my style list, he cleverly labeled them in the screen. He put a B sharp in front of them and then put the name of the style. So for example, I just pushed one here. It says B sharp, Nollins Pianist. And this is great if you want to play some slow Dixie, some slow jazz, styling of like Pete Fountain. What you're going to hear to me is this sounds like a Pete Fountain version of Just a Closer Walk with Thee. Here we go. Just a lot of amazing styles. I'm looking at my list up here. These are just, at a glance, these are just all of the new styles taken from the Lowry Liberty and Patriot and placed. Here's a style here, and I'll actually use music for this. It says Your Way. So if I play the song My Way, and I'll just simply put it up here, it's in the key of C, and I just look on the screen and I find the style Your Way. It has the full arrangement for this song from top to bottom, and I'll just play the first half of the arrangement. And as I get to the second page, I just reach up and hit alter style. It tells me actually in the music here, and we have music that we can give you for this. So when you get your Prestige Plus, you'll know where to find all these styles. Listen. that was just playing the song one time through, and then of course this music actually says turn on alter style and turn it off, go back to, and just like your easy play music would. And just a lot of phenomenal styles. Now talk about, if that wasn't enough, they had to put another phenomenal style that they took from the originally from the Lowry Imperial and subsequently on the Sterlings and the Patriots and the Liberties. And this style is just one of those styles that for some reason, when people need something uplifting, they need something kind of just soothing and peaceful sounding and a song to play, this is just one of those styles to play and one of the songs to play. And the style's called Wonderful World. Obviously, I'm going to play the song What a Wonderful World. And what's great about this is now on the SU models, we have the ability to find song setups alphabetically. If you go through and you hit song setup, you go through the list. Or if you search your styles, if you have the style list button, you can go through it alphabetically. However, what this instrument has is a new feature called Keypad. Now you have the keypad on your models. The difference is this: when you touch the keypad, there's a new option that says alphabet. So if I want to search for any new style, whether it's in the B's or the W's or what have you, you just touch the letter and you go to that list and it brings you directly to that letter. So if I wanted serenade, I would type in S and it brings me right to the S's. If I want swing band, same thing. If I want Mr. Sandman, I type in M and it brings me right to it. And it makes it very easy to find the styles without having to scroll through the list of hundreds of styles and song setups. So the one that I just pulled up here is called Wonderful World. The arrangement totally just like the song. Listen. Just an absolute gorgeous rhythm style, and actually all of these, I'm probably saying that about all of them, because they're all great, and these are all the new signature styles that won the hearts of many of our students as they progressed into those models, the Sterlings, the Patriots, and the Liberties. The only problem with those instruments for some is that they're very expensive, but they do offer a lot, and now it's on the Prestige Plus at a very economical price point. Now, one of the features about the Sterlings, and they've done it on the Easy series, but where they really perfected it was on the Lowry Liberty, the Lowry Patriot, all those models deemed virtual orchestra. And what I'm talking about is a group of styles that are classified as either guitarists or pianist styles. And Bill Curry, when he ventured this project with us, he made sure that he put on some of the best pianists and guitarists styles. Now, for example, Here's a style here called picking guitars. This was introduced as a guitar style on the, and I'll play a couple, this kind of, I'll switch to a little bit of the, sort of the country flavor of music here, and I'll show off a couple guitarist and one guitarist, one piano style, and it's done automatically, gives you a great guitar sound. Here we go. And of course, people who love the piano styles, you heard one of them earlier, the Nollins pianist. And a lot of people have fallen in love with this style because there's a lot of great songs out there in the 3/4 range, whether it be a gospel. There's a lot of gospel tunes in 3/4. There's a lot of country tunes in 3/4. And what you're going to find about this style, what's really nice about these piano styles is they start off first with just an elegant piano player playing perfectly, and I just play one note, and then we can do a couple songs with this. Listen. Some really, I hope you're enjoying this music so far. I'm having a good time. What I also wanted to share with you is, as you know, what we're embarking on now is, as technology has improved over the years, one of the things you'll notice is that the use of this little device called the USB has become basically widely used across the entire world. And some people use it because they want to store photos. Sometimes you can actually put a whole entire movie collection on these, or on the Lowry instruments, it allows you to take your instructor home with you, and they can play for you. They can give you setups at your fingertips. And now we have the ability here to where we actually have a USB drive, and it just very simply goes into there. And the neat thing about this is they're a lot more durable. When this first was introduced, by the way, just to give you an idea, the SU models are floppy drive type instruments. When this first came out, and mind you, the first USB option came out in 2007 on an organ. The first stick was considered what's called half a gig. At that time, one USB stick that was half a gigabyte was equivalent to 500 floppy disks. So put that in perspective. Nowadays, you can't find one that small. You can have one bigger than that. But the other beauty of this is some people still have CD players too. And so we actually have a traditional CD player here that works. You can record your own music or have the staff members record some songs for you and put it on a CD drive. And I mean, just the technology of it all has really made it possible. It's what made this instrument one of the all-time best-selling instruments for Lowry over the years. Little things. These are the little things. The roll top, you'll notice, I don't know if you can in that, see if I can shine my light here. You notice here on the roll top, right here, there's a little metal piece. You can kind of see it there. And what that does is it makes it a lot easier for folks to get to the roll top without worrying about their fingernails or trying to grab the lip of it. And the tracking on this is as such, and if you notice, I'm going to apply very little effort. It rolls up very easily and then eventually just slides up very gently. So they made it very, very easy to access and use your instrument with all the features. Last but not least, and I'll play a couple more of my favorite styles for you. We talked about presets earlier, but there was something newer in the presets here. First of all, there is a rhythm preset here. It's now called normal rhythm preset. Now on the Royales and the Stardust, there is a button that just says rhythm preset, and it works very much the same. So you have 10 buttons plus the 0, 11 rhythm presets for every style. On here, there's a new one called organ rhythm preset. And when you touch organ rhythm preset, it gives me an additional 11 rhythm presets for every rhythm. So now we have 22 rhythm presets for 212 styles. That's well over 4,000 presets that you never have to guess because the screen is always telling you. The other phenomenal thing is, I mentioned this earlier, but if you go into the More category, there's another page of sounds. I'll play one of them, but there's a whole new group of presets. It says harmony organ, smooth flutes, they now have diapason organ, instruments from around the world, pianos plus percussion and sound effects. I'll play a couple of these. Here, for example, are some of the new pianos. And this grand piano must be expensive because in the screen it says grand piano and there's a $sign on each side of them. It means it was a sampled piano, one of the most expensive pianos in the world. So as you notice, I purposely pan up across because they designed it so that you can virtually get the most, almost like a complete piano sound. And then another one here, new category of sounds that were built with all these beautiful, what they called sound effect type sounds. And these aren't just funny sound effects. These were sounds that would give us these effects of the beautiful nature sounds while you're playing and the beautiful timpani. So for example, as I play this, a lot of people ask me, how did you get that when you played that song? And the song that I play a lot in concerts, Theme from Ice Castles, this is the setup that I use that's exclusive to the Prestige Plus. It's absolutely phenomenal because they put an actual rolling timpani, so you don't have to roll your hands like this, like a timpani player would. So all these wonderful presets that are in there, and they actually show up in the screen, so they tell you. Now, I'm going to play a couple more of my favorite styles from the Prestige Plus and the Classy category as well. And I want to say thank you so much. Before I play these songs, I want to say thank you. I hope you enjoyed the presentation today. And let me just come back. Diane, did I do okay? All right. I get the thumbs up. All right, because last week you saw some of this. I had to switch it up a little bit, make it different. How about you, Ann? Did I do okay? You also saw a different one, so I had to change it up a little bit today for you, too. So I'm going to finish up with a couple of new styles that are on this instrument. And before I do, as you know, we have been doing a... I was trying to tell John Riley, I said, we should call it a fundraiser sale. And he didn't go along with it. But, you know, as we were shut down in April, we lost a whole entire month out of the year. And I said, you know, if we want to open up in June a little bit more by more, so we need to raise some funds. I said, we should call it a fundraiser sale. But he said, no, we shouldn't do that. It's not a fundraiser. But I said, yeah, it's a fundraiser, but then they get something in return. A Prestige Plus. But we do have some phenomenal opportunities going on. I just sent out an email recently on a Memorial Day sale, and we have, in some cases, some models are over 50% off. And we're doing this, basically, we've been doing this softly. We started it at the end of April, throughout the month of May, and then in the last week of May, we've been doing everything possible to make it extremely easy and affordable and economical for our students to acquire their next instrument at a fraction of a cost that you normally would. And so with that said, I'm going to finish up with a couple of styles here that I think that are just absolutely wonderful. One's on the slow side, and I'll finish up with something upbeat. This style here, a lot of people love. It's a style called Holy Night. And I'll play a little bit of Oh Holy Night. But what's great about the style is the nature of this, the arrangement in this lends itself to play a lot of great music when it's not that time of the season. So you'll hear a little bit of a Christmas song, and then you'll hear how you can play any other great slow ballad with this. Listen. So it's as you can see, it's a very diverse style you can use for many wonderful songs. I'll finish up today's program with, I always like to finish with this style. It's just the styling of Les Brown and his Band of Renown. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to some of the new category presets. I didn't play this one for you earlier, but it features what we call, let's see here, what's called a growl saxophone, which was a new sound. So it's on the jazz category, which you guys have, but it's on the 0 position, which is new. So it's a totally different saxophone sound altogether. And then at the top we have a brass section with that trumpet shake. So it does it on, I always want to feel like shaking my finger, but you don't have to. You just kind of have a tendency to. But here's what's neat. Earlier I mentioned this Virtuoso that you can have some fun with. Well, there's another fun thing you can do. You simply push Virtuoso and you can tell it by touching the screen. It says upper. So now this sound is here in the upper. So at times I might just wiggle my finger up there. Listen. I turn on the altar style. I'm going to let the band play a little bit. And thank you very much for joining me this lovely morning, early afternoon, wherever you are. And we hope you enjoyed my third demonstration of the Lowry Prestige Plus. I'm just having a ball with this. So hopefully you'll enjoy it, and get with your team members, your staff members, and find out what the special opportunity is. We have some very, very, very exciting information to share with you. So with that said, thank you, iPhone and Kelly, and thank you, Diane, for joining us in your pajamas. Thank you, Ann, for coming in today. Bye-bye. Take care. Stay safe. Stay healthy.
Bye-bye.